Calaroga Shark Media.
Am I supposed to believe this story? I'm Johnny Mac with your Daily Comedy News. From U.S. Magazine, Jimmy Fallon got lost in Bavaria, but met new friends who drove him home. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe this story? Okay. Here's how it goes. Jimmy Fallon is hiking in Bavaria, and he got lost. In a clip Jimmy Fallon shared on Instagram, Jimmy Fallon is seen riding in the passenger seat of a convertible. As he panned the camera, a woman was seen driving the vehicle, and her son Leon was in the back seat. They're jamming to Queen's Killer Queen. Fallon exclaims, yes. Jimmy Fallon captioned the upload, I pretzel emoji Bavaria. The other day, I got lost in the middle of nowhere in Bavaria. Thankfully, I made some new friends who offered to drive me back to my hotel. If you run into Leon or his mom, say hi, and thank you from Jimmy. Also, shout out to radio station 93.7 in Bavaria. Great music. On a TikTok, Jimmy shared that he went for a walk to go look at the lake, which he didn't end up finding. While listening to, quote, some book about breathing, Fallon made a left turn and didn't think much about it. I end up going to someone's yard and I don't know where I am. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. He attempted to use his phone, which was at 5%, at which point he realized he was almost 2 hours away from his hotel. He tried taking a shortcut through a field, but the grass was getting taller and he was worried about getting bit by a snake. Fallon heads back to the main road as the story goes and put his thumb up to hitchhike. Yeah? There's no one Jimmy Fallon can call. There's no cabs. There's nothing. Jimmy Fallon is hitchhiking in Bavaria. After attempting to catch a ride with a stranger, Jimmy Fallon found his way to an auto body shop where he met a fan who turned out to be Leon and offered him a ride back to his hotel. Jimmy says, we're driving, and then Queen comes on the radio, Killer Queen, and we start jamming out and laughing, tops down, sun is shining. Jimmy said he will never forget Leon and his mom, who he called nice people, invited them to come see The Tonight Show. Jimmy said, now I'm in love with Bavaria. I always thought I'd love it, but now I'm just, wow. Yeah. All right. Sebastian Maniscalco, his publicist needs a raise. A lot of articles about Sebastian and this big concert he's doing tonight. This one's from the LA Times. They write, the only thing comedian Sebastian Maniscalco really knew when he came to Los Angeles from the suburbs of Illinois 26 years ago is they wanted to make people laugh and hopefully make some money doing it, at least enough to live on and keep his Italian family off his back about the dubious career choice of pursuing stand-up comedy. Since then, a lot has changed as he strides through the underground labyrinth in the hull of the $2 billion spacecraft-looking Intuit Dome, wearing snug black jeans, a heavily starched leopard print jacket, and perfectly coiffed silver hair. You'd think he owns the place. Sebastian, the first comedian ever to perform at the Intuit Dome. He says, if you would have told young me, hey, in 2024, just so you know, you're going to be performing where the Clippers play basketball in an arena, I couldn't comprehend it. Back then, that felt like something. Fame was never in the cards for me. Am I surprised that I'm doing this? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I've worked so hard at what I do and people seem to enjoy it. The fact, that they come to see me in an arena like this is flattering, quite honestly. I don't know if it's even really kind of hit me yet. Anytime I do anything, I just think, where am I working tonight? I'm working at the Comedy Store tonight and I'm working at the Intuit Dome August 17th. I just feel like, gonna work. I just want people to say that I've never disappointed them at a show. That's kind of what's most important to me. You come to my show for an hour and a half, you're going to forget that your mother's dying. You're going to forget you know what? You just reminded me that my mother passed away earlier this year. Sebastian, this isn't working at all. That totally backfired. Thanks, Sebastian. Now I have to sound fun for another 10 minutes? Thanks, Sebastian. You come to my show for an hour and a half, you're going to forget that your mother's dying. You're going to forget that you were just told that you have high blood pressure. Your goal is when you come here and watch comedy and forget about all those things, it's like medicine. That didn't work at all, Sebastian. You have totally funked me up now for the rest of the pod. The It Ain't Right Tour is a new set about catching his fans up with his life as an older father of two young kids, 5 and 7 years old, and the pitfalls and parallels of life as a professional funny man, as well as a dad. It's the type of comedy he barely has time to rehearse because he's too busy living it. Oh, publicist, you got that done. But while some comics thrive on the mundane life events of shopping for groceries or going to the mall and picking the kids up from soccer practice, Sebastian's career no longer gives him time to live those things. Instead, it's more about the things he misses when he's on the road. He says, went to a water slide party yesterday with my kids and my wife, and I realized how I'm not part of the dad crew because I'm out of town a lot. Meanwhile, they've been hanging out for 3 years. I felt like it was my first day at high school trying to find a friend. I would imagine someone would recognize him and want to talk to him. Looking back, everything happens for a reason the way it should. But yeah, I wish I would have started having kids a little earlier because, start looking at your life and going, okay, my kid's 5, I'm 50. I'm almost double the difference between my father and I. And you start to think, am I going to be around for this kid when he gets married at 35? He might be changing my diaper on his wedding day. A lot more to that article. Maybe I'll pick at it tomorrow. Fox spoke to Carol Burnett, who's 91 years old. She described how comedy has changed. As for the golden era of shows, such as The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Carol Burnett says, they're funny and character-driven. They're not scatological or blue. She called modern-day comedy boring and not funny. I'm not a prude, but sometimes I think some of the stuff today, it's been kind of easy to get a laugh by being a little blue. I don't mind if it's within the character, but if they do it just to say a bad word, I think it's boring and it's not funny. Funny is the Dick Van Dyke Show. Funny is Mary, Bob Newhart, All in the Family, and they hold up today. Some people she would still like to work with. I would say Meryl Streep because she's funny and boy, can she sing. George Clooney for obvious reasons. Bradley Cooper for obvious reasons. I've had good fortune of working with in my career with over 300 people because of my show, 11 years, 2 guest stars a week. I'm just so lucky. Las Vegas Magazine spoke to Carlos Mencia. He's been doing a show called Stars of Comedy at Harrah's. Well, how'd that happen, Carlos Mencia? He says, I expected at some point in my career to do this. I've been touring consistently ever since I started doing stand-up in '88. To be in Vegas and have these people coming to me instead was very, very inviting. Another thing I felt was I needed to do something different, something new, something more challenging. I thought it would give me a different jolt of energy, and it has. I've done 4 shows, and they're all about 60 to 80% different. When an opportunity presents itself like this one, I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. I'm going to give myself to it completely, 100%. Not 99.9, but 100%. Whenever I venture into any endeavors, wherever it may be, I give myself 100% of the moment that I have to that endeavor. So I know at the end of it, I did my best. I gave it my all. That's also something that really makes me happy. Carlos, do you stay in Las Vegas Sunday, Monday shows? Oh, hell yes. I love the fact that in Vegas you can get a good bite anytime. Every day is Friday or Saturday, depending on which one of those you like. It's a 24-hour city that's awake all the time. I love that energy. I love that I can wake up at any time and say, hey, let's go do this. A British comedian Ahir Shah has a new special coming to Netflix. Shah is a 2023 Edinburgh Comedy Award-winning stand-up. This is his debut Netflix special. It'll be out on Netflix September 10th. There is a clip. It's a little lengthy. I will comment on the other side of the clip. Here, let's listen.
My name is Ahir Shah. That is my name, by the way, right? I didn't used to need to clarify this until a few years ago. I was doing this gig in Switzerland, right? I was doing a gig in Switzerland, and the theme of this gig was that every comedian was from a different country, right? I was the British entrant, very modern. Right? And there was one comedian I was particularly excited to meet, right? Because this guy's name was Ali Al Saeed, right? Now, Ali is a stand-up comedian from the United Arab Emirates, of all places, right? Now, I'd never met anyone from the United Arab Emirates, let alone a comedian from the United Arab Emirates. To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't think that they had comedians in the United Arab Emirates. I assumed he'd just be walking on stage being like, what's the deal with unspeakable oil wealth? He's a very nice man and a very funny man, right? And after the show, all the comedians, we're all backstage, we're all hanging out, we're all having a laugh, we're all having a drink, not Ali, obviously, right? And we get to talking, and he says to me, like, listen, bro, like, we're friends now, right? I could ask you a question, you're not going to get offended. I'm like, listen, brother, you're from Dubai, I'm of South Asian origin. As long as the question you have for me is not, do you want a job on a construction site? Industrialized slavery. Then you can ask me whatever the hell you like. He's like, no, it's nothing like that. I was just wondering, when did you decide to start using the hilarious comedy stage name Ahir Shah? To be honest with you, I don't really remember, but I think that it was probably around the 28th of December 1990 when I plopped out of Mrs. Shah and she and Mr. Shah had a word between them and decided to call their newborn bundle of joy Ahir. I think that's round about when I started going by Ahir Shah. He's like, right. Okay, one thing you probably should know, in case you're ever around my neck of the woods, is that in Arabic, your name means prostitute king.
Now, there was a long way to go for the setups, but I think they paid off. I laughed out loud. I've talked about in the past how I'm a psychopath that doesn't actually laugh at stand-up comedy. That got 2 LOLs from me, so that's pretty good. Ahir Shah, September 10th on your Netflix. Hey, we've got a new podcast coming out. It is called 5 Minutes of Gratitude. What is it, John? Well, it's 5 minutes of gratitude. That's what it is. It's in the title. You listen for 5 minutes, and you get all mindful, and you think about what you should be grateful in your life. Trailer's out now. Check it out. 5 Minutes of Gratitude. Number 5 Minutes of Gratitude, wherever you get your shows. Today in Joliet, it's Blues Brothers Con, the sequel. Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi are back, baby. First staged in 2022, Blues Brothers Con is a celebration of the Blues Brothers, specifically the 1980 film. Yes, there have been some other projects, but, those aren't as cool. Blues Brothers Con features musical performances by a deep roster of blues acts. The day of music leads up to the main event, a performance by the real Blues Brothers, led by Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi. Jim has frequently filled in for John Belushi over the years. The event also includes a Bluesmobile car show, a blues bar beverage tent, and plenty of official licensed Blues Brothers merch. This sounds like fun. It's today, 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Rain or shine. Tickets available at jolietprison.org and jolietmuseum.org. Proceeds from the event support the Joliet Area Historical Museum. Audible and Broadway Video, that's and Broadway, I don't know specifically the ownership, but Broadway is associated at least with Lorne Michaels and SNL anyway. Audible and Broadway Video are launching some original comedy podcasts. One is called The Best Man's Ghostwriter, voiced by Glenn Powell. The cast includes a whole bunch of people, including Zach Braff, Deborah Messing, George Takei, Jack McBrayer, Nicole Byer, Neil Flynn, the janitor from Scrubs, and he was on, The Middle. Was that The Middle? Jason Mantzoukas, and others. A lot of cast here. I don't know how this thing's going to make any money. I've got some expertise in podcasting. I guess Audible's got a model where you can pay all those people. You go, Audible, and that. It's your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. Meet you back here tomorrow.